the executive officer, the CEO of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, Bello Hassan, says a new risk-based method has been worked out to determine the rate of insured premium for local banks. The deposit insurer voices concern over the slow pace of payment to depositors and investors in banks that are shut down by the central bank. This comes just as the CBN announced a new $500 million employment funding scheme for graduates and undergraduates. Providing some insight into this for us now is a licensed trader and CEO at Cowry Asset Management, Johnson Chukwu. Good to have you with us on the show tonight.
Thank you, Boason, for having me. Good evening.
Thank you so much. I'm sure you were in the securities investment trading market, but again, you got your eyes on the banking system over the years and decades. Looking back, do you think our system of refunding depositors in closed banks had worked, or has it fared very well?
Boason, I don't think it has fared very well. I mean, like the MD of NDIC said, situations where they have succeeded in paying 100% of insured of deposits or insured deposits has been very rare. Only 10 banks have succeeded in doing that. But most importantly, if you look at the amount that we are lost in Fed banks and the amount that we are covered by insurance premium under the NDIC, is so inconsequential. At some point, it was only 50,000 naira. Then subsequently increased to 250,000 naira. And it was based on a flat amount, irrespective of the amount you had. It was only after you had gotten that first payment and they still have, they were able to realize enough recoveries or sale of assets that you get any additional amount of money. So you realize that if you have 10 million naira in a bank and you lose, that bank goes down, you may never be able to get more than 250,000 naira. So in terms of coverage, in premium coverage or payment, we've seen very weak performance because it doesn't give people the confidence when you are back with an insured bank, and if anything goes wrong, what you get is a very inconsequential amount to the amount you have lost.
Now, the head of the NDIC says liquidation dividend has been paid, like you said, in relation to just 10 closed banks out of nearly 50 that has been shut by the central bank. If we go all the way back to the failed bank period of the early 90s, around 1994, which was the failed bank decree, 25 banks or thereabout, 24 banks were shut in one single day. What needs to change? What reforms would you like to see in our insured premium and bank closure process?
I think the basic thing we need to look at is that we need to have risk-based insurance premium, which is actually what the premium is all about. Elsewhere in the world and in other aspects of insurance, remember that Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation is just an insurance company owned by the federal government that insures the deposits of banks, that insures depositors in the event of loss of the deposit in banks as a result of failure. So it has to adopt the same principle that the premium you pay depends on the riskiness of the cover. And if a bank has higher risk, then the bank should pay higher premium to insure the deposit so that the NDIC with the insurance company will have enough to indemnify all those who are insured by them. But if you do not have enough premium, then you will not have enough reserve to indemnify everybody who has been insured. So the challenge we have here is that NDIC previously had adopted a flat insurance premium, irrespective of the riskiness of the particular financial institution. We need to go and adjust that to be in tandem with the riskiness that the insurance company, in this case NDIC, is assuming when they insure the deposit of a bank.
We're talking about depositors, Johnson Chukwu. Johnson, we're not even talking about investors in those banks at all.
Yes, the investors, the equity holders, or what you call the residual owners of the any institution, including financial institutions.
Yes.
Residual owners get the benefits of residual ownership, which means if the company is doing well, they take the benefit. If the company is doing badly, they lose their investment to the limit of their shareholding, which is why they are limited liability companies, to the limit of their shareholding. So there is no indemnity to anybody who has taken an equity risk. Equity risk simply means that if things go well, I make good money, but when things go wrong, I lose my principal, I lose my shares. So if a deposit, if an equity investor wants to go ahead and insure his investment, it will not be under a deposit insurance. It will be a entirely different form of insurance, but certainly not a deposit insurance. The deposit insurance is to cover those who have the good faith, who believe the good faith of the institution to meet their obligations when they become due, and they have put their life savings in the financial institutions. So those are the ones that the deposit insurance is insurance to maintain what we call financial system stability, so that people have confidence in the financial system.
So how are we going to get something worked out for the investors to mean something? But let's just quickly move on to talk about the central bank announcing the $500 million funding support for graduates and undergraduates. What do you glean from the guidelines just released today by the financial regulator, just about 20-page document?
Well, when I looked at it, I felt a bit, some level of excitement. And I will tell you why. If you look at a place like Silicon Valley in United States, in California, is basically a fallout of the innovations and creativity that came out of Stanford University. And so if the central bank wants to fund entrepreneurs, what they call grand entrepreneurs, those undergraduates who are enterprise who are creating innovative products, and the central bank is going to provide funding to them. And the central bank is focused on, I think, 6 or so top polytechnics and universities. So basically, you're going to see is that it will encourage the very creative Nigerians to seek admission in those schools, and it will also encourage them to work towards commercializing their inventions or their thoughts or their ideas. So I felt, because one of the things we have here, challenge you have here, is that we don't have effective venture capital that are ready to put in money on ideas, and which is what the central bank will be doing in this time around, to put money on ideas at the incubation level and work towards incubating them to viable corporate entities.
So technically, this is a venture capital program by the central bank, but that is on one side. There's going to be loan, there's going to be equity, then there's going to be what it was called a development part of it, which will be grants to be given to universities and polytechnics if they compete very well with whatever they're output. You think this is really good?
Yes, I think as they implement, they will keep fine-tuning it, but I think it's a very good idea. I did say that there is a live example that we can learn from. Stanford University is the source of ideas that created Silicon Valley. The Facebooks of this world and all those many of the social media platforms we are all leveraging on today came as a result of innovative ideas from graduates or undergraduates of Stanford University. So if Nigeria is going to take the time route and it's coming from an initiative of the central bank, I think it's commendable.
You think this will get some youths, perhaps even much younger ones, to focus only on white-collar jobs, but on technical vocational education?
Maybe I should cite this example so that we bring it to bring it home. I have a nephew who was so innovative and created some solutions that even the then Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, reviewed when this government came into power in 2015 or 2016, and he was selected among the best and most creative young people. He was a youth corps then, but unfortunately nothing came out of it because nobody funded it, nobody supported it.
Okay, thank you so much, Johnson Chukwu. We appreciate that. CEO at Cowry Asset Management. Thank you for your time.